Welcome to NTR Radio. I'm Tom Forster Nubis.
And I'm VZ Mark II.
And I am Zeke Freak.
K-Gods couldn't be here this show.
Yep, K-Gods couldn't make it. As you can probably hear, my voice is about 25% shot. I expect that percentage to go up as we continue the show. Yeah, I'm coming off of illin. Highly illin.
Straight up illin.
Straight up illin. So that's the reason that we weren't live last week, because I was illin.
Oh, straight out of Illinois.
We should do the chat.
So here's what you do. You hit up ntrradio.net/chat and you give yourself a nickname and get yourself into the chat that way. Alternatively, you can take your favorite IRC client, point it at irc.ryzen.net, and join us in the # SLC Media channel. In addition to that, you can get at us on Twitter at TEAnubis, at VZMK2, at ZekeFreak, and at NTR_radio. And as always, the email address to get involved in the email address in the show is ntrradio@gmail.com.
Yes, to hack into his email, just follow that link.
The email address to get involved with the email address to get involved with the email address is ntrradio@gmail.com.
Yep.
So how's everyone been doing otherwise?
Sick.
I am okay. I got some interesting stuff in the mail.
Ooh.
And how about you, Zeke?
I've been pretty good. I've been watching some stuff, and I've been playing some stuff and having a straight up good time, not being ill.
Right. I've been finishing up the season, which was if you've been listening to the other ones, kind of average.
Yeah.
Nothing really, nothing out of like 5 out of 5. So it was basically like stuff like Endro, Ueno-san, Wata 10. Next season's gonna have some nice stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I was finishing up some seasonal stuff as well. Stuff like Promised Neverland and SAOlicization.
Right.
And I would like to say Kaguya, but I'm waiting for the actually good translations, like a good boy. So they're like 4 weeks behind on that.
So other stuff I've been watching is I finally got to see the side movie for the show Sound Euphonium, Liz and the Bluebird. And in fact, I enjoyed it so much, I actually went and bought it.
Ooh.
By Shout Factory. Shout Factory's been doing some nice stuff lately because they're the ones that have been doing. They're the ones that have like Transformers and Super Sentai, but they've been doing a lot of anime releases now. They got Silent Voice coming. They just came out with a Blu-ray release of Perfect Blue.
I would have thought, like, if he asked me, I would have said that was on Blu-ray before, but no, apparently not.
No,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I would have thought.
So I've been on a real Gundam mood lately. Cause I've been back in the Gunpla mood, and I bought the new kit of Narrative Gundam C packs.
It looks actually pretty good.
Yes, and I bought a stand for it. And
See, that's what I need to get is more stands.
Yeah,
because
this one's really good, by the way.
Especially for real grades, because those things just don't, like, they look really, really nice. Like, don't get me wrong, they look fantastic, but they're not made to stand on their own very well.
Right. Get this one, this hexagonal one.
Well, the stands I really like, or I think it's called the system base, because it just looks like it's in a hangar.
Oh, I know which one. I had those too. But I also got a Reborn 100 vagina.
Vagina.
Vagina Gina. But that's it. That's what its name is. It's an anagram of vagina. I actually knew about this design way back in the early, because this is one of the ones I saw when I used to go to like Forbidden Planet or Chinatown. But here's the funny thing. So this is 1/100 scale, right?
Yes.
This is 1/40 scale.
Yeah, and they're about the same size. Well, to be fair, like, if I'm not mistaken, the narrative Gundam is a little bit taller than than
it's
most mobile suits around.
Yeah, it's like 21.
Previously. Yeah,
it's 21 meters, and the other one is like 15 meters.
Yeah.
But so I also got a coming besides an Android, a Master Grade 2.0 F91 to go with that, and that one actually comes with a stand. So I'm gonna put that with that. And I've been watching. So I finally got to watching Victory Gundam.
See, I still need to see Victory Gundam.
I'm only up to 7, but I'm actually really liking it. Surprisingly, I'm not bored at all.
That's good.
Well, here's the
mark
thing.
of a good show.
Well, here's the thing. I couldn't get past 7 episodes of Gundam Wing.
Oh.
Anubis knows I cannot stand. I like the designs, but I cannot stand Gundam Wing.
I have a question for you Gundam nerds, because I don't know these things, but the only show I actually sat through when I was like 11 was SD Gundam. How is that show seen in the Gundam community?
Okay, so like UC Gundam with like Mobile Suit Gundam and Zeta Gundam and Char's Counterattack, that's up here with the visual gimmick with my hand up near the top of my head.
Yeah.
SD Gundam is all the way down here with the visual gimmick of my hand off the camera screen below my chair.
You're probably talking about the one Superior Defender that was on Cartoon Network, right?
Yeah.
See, everyone hated that. I didn't think that was that bad at the time. People hated that.
Time. Yeah, you didn't think that was that bad at the time.
Yeah, see, I didn't have the brain neurons yet to even remember this show.
Nobody really thought it was that bad at the time.
No, a lot of people thought it was bad at the time too, because apparently it's like one of the lowest rated things on ANN.
Well, yeah, of course it is. That's no surprise at all.
Really, I can't believe that people hate that one so bad. Is it what? It's because it's too silly,
it's because it's a complete departure from everything everyone was used to about Gundam.
Yeah, it's meant to be as a comedy. It's meant to be as a
everyone. You're not understanding, because for people in the real world, SD Gundam has been a franchise for almost as long as Gundam has been a franchise.
Right.
For people who are on Toonami, like me, SD Gundam came around after everyone was already exposed to Gundam as this super awesome robot fighting thing after Wing and after G Gundam. So then SD Gundam comes around and it's really silly and wacky and weird. And everyone was like, what's this?
Yeah, but guess what? There were OVAs in the 80s that are just like that.
That's what I'm telling you. Nobody knew that. The number of people in the United States that knew that was like 5 at that time.
Oh, I'm so glad I started something.
In like the late 90s, early 2000s, Toonami generation people didn't know about SD Gundam. They didn't know that it had been a franchise for like a decade before. They didn't know. They were ignorant because nobody told. everyone thought the first Gundam was Gundam Wing.
Yeah.
Like,
but the thing is, I don't.
That's why I'm saying. Yes, it's perfectly reasonable that people don't like that series.
I don't know how people stuck around for Wing.
Because it was just cool. Because it was cool
so
robot fighting, and nobody had seen that before.
But it's so boring.
VZ, you grew up with cool robot fighting. All right, understand that. People like me,
yes, but they barely show cool robot fighting in Wing.
Listen,
all they do is sit around and talk about with drinking tea.
Nobody had seen any of that previous to Gundam Wing, and zero people had seen that in animation previous to Gundam Wing. It was very new at the time.
Yeah.
All right.
The Gundam fandom sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, we're a fun bunch.
And
just don't. You should ask a whole bunch of Gundam, like just roll up to a whole bunch of Gundam fans and
even when they
and ask, hey guys, Federation or Xeon, and just like run out of the room before chairs start flying.
Even when they broadcast first Gundam, I was like, wow, the animation in this is really bad, even for the time.
Yes, because it was 1979.
I know that, but even that, it wasn't until they showed the fucking OVAs, like 0083 and 0080, that I was like, yes, this is what I like.
Yes, VZ. OVAs look a lot better than TV anime, especially when the OVAs are from the 1980s and the TV anime is from the 1970s.
You know?
Yes, that is something that's true. I'm not gonna argue with you about that.
And then I got a bootleg copy of F91. I was like, wow, this is my favorite. This is one of my favorite things.
He's a classy guy. He's got high standards for his mecha animation.
Oh yeah. No, listen. Anubis knows me as the guy that's always complaining about 3D CG in mecha.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, can you draw this in 2D? No, we don't know how. It's like drawing a person, just with more lines and.
Yeah.
It's like drawing a person. It's nothing like drawing a person. I can't draw, and I know that.
Wow. I remember hearing that people were concerned when CG mechas started popping up that animators are just going to forget how to draw traditional mecha.
Here's the weird thing. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Sunrise is more or less the last studio that knows how to do that.
Yeah.
In the 2D. Here's the thing. It seems like for the US fandom, Gundam, all the ones that I'm not into were the ones that became popular. Wing, Seed, Double O, IBO.
Reminds me of that part in Shirobako where they have to find that one specific animator who knows how to draw a horse.
Oh yeah.
So my one complaint about V so far is, again, on an aesthetic level, it's that there's little to no goddamn shading on the mobile suits or the characters. And you know,
like a stylistic thing, or like
yeah, it was more like a stylist. If Sunrise was doing that in their shows at the time,
yeah,
you know, which is weird because it seemed like such a step back from like if you watch something like Double Z. Yeah, I'm only using TV. TV. I'm not going to mention OVAs and movies.
Right.
Like Double Zeta, where there's all that like crazy 80s shading and such.
Yeah.
And it's like it makes it look a bit older than it really was. But other than that, but I have no complaints about the content. The content I'm not bored at. I'm enjoying it, liking the design work of the mobile suits and such. And I'm looking forward to seeing more.
Yeah, no midsections too thin.
This is before that paradigm.
Yeah, well, that's Anubis's thing.
Actually, no, this wasn't before that paradigm because this is after the Methus.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, he just hates the Methus. Reborn 100 Methus, please.
Don't do it.
I'm looking at we were talking about them earlier. I'm looking at Shout Factory's gallery here. They got some dank steelbooks for like old horror films, but I'm really confused by this one for The Thing, because The Thing looks like a freaking dinosaur in it.
Oh,
I'll post that in my server. It looks like a dinosaur.
Anyway, yeah, I haven't watched shit, so
Okay.
don't look at me for stuff I'm watching because I haven't.
You're gonna watch the baseball one next season?
Why would I ever watch a baseball anime?
Because it's Moe girls in baseball. One of the girls has a 99 cm butt.
Yeah. Okay. Moe girls, good. Baseball, that's a thumbs down.
Yeah, guess what? I don't care about sports either, but I like them doing cute. I don't mind sports if it's got cute girls.
You underestimate how painfully boring a sport baseball is to watch. How excruciatingly boring baseball is.
Yeah, as they say, it's a 3-hour game with 8 minutes of excitement. See, you said the baseball one. I'm thinking, oh yeah, they're making a new Diamond No Ace. I'm like, but I don't think he's.
No, that's not it. That's not the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about Cinderella 9.
Yeah.
Because we're getting.
And you can't even tell me, like, don't knock it till you tried it, because I did watch Princess 9, and I didn't like that one either.
Oh, that one I never seen, but I know of it.
Oh, do you know the measurements ahead of time?
Oh, for the characters?
That was a rhetorical question. You didn't have to answer.
All right, so I guess that's it for the first segment.
Yes, indeed. We're gonna kick it into the break. Keep it right here on NTR Radio. Welcome back to NTR Radio. So, BZ had an idea for a topic.
Yes. Okay, so basically a sort of review and kind of just stepping back and looking at like the anime industry, the American anime industry as it is at this point in time, because there's sort of stuff that's happening that I'm noticing. There's certain things that are going on that have happened before, and it's going to lead to bad stuff happening. But first off, I want to talk about the good stuff that's going on. Mm-hmm. Right. So, Sentai Filmworks, after sort of the falling of ADV, they came back as, well, Section 23 was the company, and they made several arms to that. Sentai Filmworks was one of them. That's their main anime division. They have another one called Made in Japan, pun on made in Japan. And that's kind of basically their sort of criterion. The sort of, I hate using this word because it makes, especially certain things that what I'm going to talk about doesn't really fit this, but it's kind of like their higher brow. Like they have Wings of Oniyamis in there. They have the Gunbuster movie in there. They have Pat Labor under there.
Right.
They're basically doing but the thing is, under their Made in Japan, they're releasing show I've been waiting 10 years for, and that is Canon Memo.
Oh, that's no. Sorry. Okay, I was gonna say something, and then I was confusing with Photokano. Never mind.
Oh no, Photokano is a great show too. No, yeah. Canon Memo is the one from Studio Feel, and as soon as they announced, I knew exactly what they were going to say in the comments on ANN, and it's exactly what is it? It's like, oh god, that character. For those who don't know, there's a very infamous lesbian lolicon character in the show. Mm. And she likes groping the other loli characters. Nice. And this was like the barrier to not just the barrier that I was like, okay, this isn't going to come out. But see, Sentai is cool. Made in Japan is cool. So that's something I'm definitely getting. And they've really been doing these great releases of, you know,
Sentai has been doing very good lately. Like,
and they're not absurdly expensive.
Yeah.
They're not.
Well, unless you're looking for the Legend of the Galactic Heroes release, which,
nah.
Quite frankly, that's not even absurdly expensive. That's just like, that's cheaper than it otherwise would have been had Sentai not actually haggled them down on, haggled the rights holders down on the price.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I still have a feeling that they're probably going to release a vanilla edition of that show without all that physical extras, probably
still
even in
probably a couple $100.
Well, the whole thing was like $800, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a long show, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like over 100 episodes. Yeah. I don't even know if the Gaiden stuff is in there. There's also like movies and such. Yeah, it's a lot. But see, as Sentai's being awesome, Funimation is unfortunately.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Funimation cannot. They're dropping a lot of balls. They cannot hold on to a ball.
Incapable.
Well, okay. So this is the real thing that I wanted to get to. I've been noticing they've been re-releasing shows for like at a much cheaper. They re-release, which is nothing wrong with re-releasing shows. Nor is it bad re-releasing a show at a cheaper MSRP. The problem is they're doing it a year after the original release of said show.
Yeah.
And The reason I'm saying history is repeating itself is this is exactly what ADV did during their height, where they would release a show. They used to like release the show individually, and then here's the whole show together in a thin pack.
Yeah.
And then you feel like a sucker because it's like,
yeah, just wait for the cheaper version.
So I'm saying is to me it almost seems like it almost seems like Funimation is gonna kind of have some financial issues down the line, because why else would they be re-releasing stuff? It's almost because a lot of, how they had that Crunchyroll partnership, but then that broke out.
Yeah.
You remember when they had that 8-minute Crunchyroll partnership?
Yeah, but the thing was, it
was a couple years.
Before they had that, they re-released their shows.
Yeah.
That were partnershiped in those cheap sets.
Yeah. See, I appreciate the save editions and whatnot, but it is kind of dickish to like immediately turn around and make them bundle them together cheaper like that.
Yeah, well, it's not the issue of cheap releases. It's not the issue of re-releases. It's that they're doing it so soon after the original that you could get the original thing after a year, and it cannibalizes their sales.
Yeah. I remember used to wait years for save editions of stuff, and now they're doing it really quickly. It used to be like a thing like, oh, this thing's out of print, let's bring it back let's bundle it together and bring it back at a discount, and now it's just like a standard thing that they do.
Yeah. Well, now they do. Now they have a thing, the Essentials Collection, which is essentially the same thing. But again, it's the same. It's really just re-release the shows cheaply for a second time. Actually, going back to Sentai Filmworks, there actually has been an issue with their release of VOTOMs.
VOTOMs.
Yeah. Which is a standard definition Blu-ray release. It's standard definition on a Blu-ray.
Ooh.
Because it's a long show, and they made that there was some like fuck ups where it's like sort of like ghosting, or
they like tried to fit too many episodes in one disc, or like
no when they it's like when something moves, there's like an in between.
Well, I know a ghost. I'm just.
Yeah, but that's the issue that's causing. They basically did it. No, it's not the too many, because it's Blu-ray can have plenty.
Yeah.
That's
I know
just.
that they used to have that, or maybe they still do. I don't know, that thing. My friends always complained about where if a show was 13 episodes, they put it on 2 discs, but if it was 12, they just shove it all on one.
Yeah, they used to do that. Now they've gotten much better about that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Someone was asleep at the this time.
Yeah.
I mean, still, Sentai's a good company, but once in a while they still like run. It's always these like old shows that kind of you have to like be cautious of, because you don't, especially if it's something an old show that's like we're doing the remastering and not the Japanese.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because then actual work's involved.
And I won't get into the particulars, but like Discotech has a certain someone on their staff that's like I'm not too fond of. It make me thinking of not getting their releases anymore, or at least certain ones that I know this certain individual is a part of, but I won't say.
No call-out post today.
I don't know. As far as individual people, I'm not going to go on that level. But what I will say is that from what I've been observing, and the latest 2 articles I wrote on Yashike are part of this paradigm. From what I'm observing, the anime industry as it's set up in the West is for the most part fundamentally not set up to serve people who care about things like accuracy and quality and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it
No.
and is partially unsustainable for that reason. Because here's what happens is you get companies like Funimation who are trying to be the mass market or closer to the mass market is as far as anime publishers in the US go.
Yes.
Yeah, gotta get into Best Buy.
Gotta get into Best Buy, exactly. And as a result, they're willing to do a lot of things to their releases that people fundamentally might not want, but to appeal to a big greater audience and to grow their audience, from their perspective, they think they need to do.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like how, it's okay, we have Letterboxd DBZ.
Yeah. Still, again.
Yeah, and they think they need to do that.
Even after their own poll showed overwhelmingly that people didn't want it.
Yeah, isn't that hilarious?
Yep.
And they think they need to do that, and it goes to all levels, partially to their pricing structure.
Yeah.
It goes that deep because the reason you're seeing box set releases that are like, I don't know, $60, $80 when if you look at Aniplex you're getting closer to $200, is because they're trying to appeal to a larger market. And we don't know how much that market's buying anime more than the rest of the market, who's also buying stuff like Aniplex releases, is also buying anime.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, the $80 doesn't really add up. I can understand I can understand Aniplex's business model for that, but they're not putting in the extra effort in like the stuff that's like for Funimation. That's that much.
Yeah.
So
I heard just the other day I was reading something bad about Aniplex on Keikaku Cat's Twitter, where he something was wrong with the first set of ReZero discs, and he sent it back, and he still hasn't gotten his replacement disc for that. I'm not sure what the exact problem was.
Was this Funimation or Aniplex?
It's ReZero, so I think it's Aniplex, isn't it?
I thought ReZero was. I will look that up. I thought it was. I think it's Funimation. No.
It is. Oh, licensed by Crunchyroll.
Oh, one of those.
Crunchyroll has the license. Let's see who I'm buying from if I buy the Blu-ray.
Yeah, these Crunchyroll licenses is where shit gets complicated.
It's on Funimation's store. And just to be sure, let's go to Right Stuff. The whole Crunchyroll Funimation partnership was weird.
Yeah, that was a strange time that, in my mind, ended as quickly as it began.
Okay, so publisher Funimation.
Okay, never mind.
I was right. Yeah.
All right. Point VZ.
Well, I mean, here's what's hilarious about that, and this will partially go against what you're saying, VZ, is that so we had the whole Crunchyroll Funimation partnership. The the two biggest entities in two different sectors of the Western anime market banding together.
Mm-hmm.
And that went on for a year and change. Then they split apart, and I'm to understand that the reason they split apart is because of the Sony acquisition of Funimation.
Yes, that is correct.
So the reason why I don't think Funimation is actually gonna go anywhere is because they have Sony's backing.
Yeah.
Like, ADV can't happen to Funimation. It's not going to happen. Not as long as Sony owns them. Unless Sony decides to just let them burn. Which why would you do that to the company you just acquired?
I can see like a major like restructuring, but I think the Funimation brand is going to stick around.
Oh, absolutely.
I think no. I know that the brand's going to stick around, but there really needs to be a sort of calibration of their company.
Yeah, a coup d'etat, if you will.
A coup d'etat is a lot closer to the way I would word it. Sony needs to get an investigation team or something like that going on. Mm-hmm. They need to descend upon Funimation, find out all the parts in which they're fucking up, which is a lot of them. Find the people who are fucking up in those parts, get them up out of here, and replace them with competent people who know what they're doing and know how to serve customers in a way that the customers would like to be served.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate that would make an awesome anime premise if someone had to go undercover at an R1 studio and find out who's fucking up?
Undercover Boss, the animation.
Exactly. That sounds awesome.
Because here's the thing. I'm still sore about that release of Lucky Star. Yes, I know the Japanese Blu-ray was like that, but someone had, when it came out here, someone had to view that.
Yeah.
Someone still had to say, this is unfit for North American release.
Exactly. Yeah, I always hate when that shit happens and people are like, well, it was the same in Japan. I'm like, well, fucking, so what? You took your shit from over there and threw it at us?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and guess what's getting an Essentials release? Lucky Star.
Ooh.
Oh,
right?
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
yes. Lucky
really?
Star complete. Essentials Blu-ray by Funimation.
It is essential that you avoid it.
All right.
They're doing that?
Yeah, I almost want to write a review of that on there saying avoid this goddamn release.
Wow. Remember when we threw shit in your face? Wouldn't it be fun if we did that again and charged you for it?
The quality was, it was like the lines on the characters were all pixelated.
And this is really sad because it's like for free on their YouTube channel too, in better quality.
Complete Series plus Essentials Blu-ray. Wow.
You know, if an encoder,
they better have done some shit to this to make it look good, because
I don't think they did.
Otherwise, they're just flinging more shit in their customers' face and say, "Hey, you like eating shit, don't you? Here's more, because you fucking bought the last Lucky Star turd that we decided to throw at you. So here it is again, and cheaper."
Again, they have it for free on their YouTube channel in arguably better quality than those sets. As far as I know.
Bandai release looked better. The Bandai release on DVD looked better.
Sad.
Yeah. So, yeah, that still makes me mad. You know, and here's the thing, because I last got, although this isn't, I'm not blaming Funimation and I'm not even blaming Right Stuff, but it's still a grievance. When I got my season 2 of Love Live Sunshine, the spindle that held the Blu-ray,
yeah,
one of the things was broken.
Ooh.
So the disc was out, but luckily, Blu-ray discs are really tough, so you don't have to worry about that.
They're Tonka tough.
But so what I did was, anyway, I put, because I don't watch the DVD, I only watch the Blu-ray. I basically switched to where the Blu-ray was with the DVD.
Right.
Oh, they're still doing that. They're still doing that like Disney double pack shit.
Yes, Funimation does that. Unless I think with the exception of the re-releases, that's how they're like half price now. I think.
What was that thing? Somebody just announced a DVD only release of something in 2019, and everyone gets butthurt about it. Well, justifiably, but butthurt's a bad term. That implies that the anger is not justified.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'll check Kevin's Twitter.
All right.
But yeah,
I mean,
the Lucky Star thing is actually another example of how the largest parts of the Western anime industry are fundamentally not set up to give the arguably the strongest customers of anime exactly what they want.
But here, well, you know what? You were actually certainly right, because guess what? There used to be once upon a time, two of the biggest companies in the U.S. were, or at least to my perception. No, actually three. It used to be like Streamline, Central Park Media, and hold on. Oh. This fell. And Manga Entertainment. Does anyone remember how when both Manga Entertainment and CPM entered the DVD era? The video quality, the jump from video to DVD was like most of the video quality on a lot of releases was left to be desired. You know, a lot of like artifact, a lot of noise, a lot of what's that word? Ghosting.
Yeah.
You know, especially for one of the movies that had like the biggest effects of ghosting was Venus Wars.
I'm not even sure how ghosting happens in animation. It seems like it would be so easy to just see and be like, "Oh, that's wrong."
I actually know how it happened. It was like going from what's that thing?
NTSC.
Yeah, NTSC to PAL to back to NTSC.
Yeah, I know that. I'm just saying, like in animation, it's so easy to pick up on. Like I understand, like in a live action series, it can be sometimes hard to see, but like in animation, it's so obvious when it happens.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I was right about this release of Lucky Star. It's just Blu-ray only. That's how they released it half the price originally. Is I got to inquire about that release for Funimation's release for Nichijou, because that was a show made later, so it probably looks a little bit better, and it's sub only, so I won't feel like I'm supporting their dub actors.
Well,
I mean, their paycheck is their paycheck.
Well, they already got their paycheck for it, so realistically. Yeah. But to continue on my point, it's an entire paradigm of not necessarily 100% having to have all your quality control in order. Because at a certain point, it's just put out a product and people will buy it. It's like how many people bought that Lucky Star release before people started en masse realizing that it was garbage?
You know, I had to do a looking into an Amazon review of all places to have someone say the same exact thing that I said about Lucky Star.
Yep, and that's someone who had to buy it to find that out. And so it goes to that level. It goes on the level of Funimation in their infamous broadcast dubs, and not having either not having the level of quality, not having the level of quality control, or just not caring. and that's an even that goes even deeper into that thought process.
Yeah.
But it's an entire mentality of, okay, we don't need this level of quality control because our core principle isn't including the product we put out needs to be this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, someone put here. There's some customer review. Maybe. Yeah, say someone talked about the Jagged, DVD. Happy to see the release. But after playing the Blu-rays, I noticed all the jaggy said. Honestly, I'm not sure it's supposed to look.
I don't know if we're only talking about physical distributors, but we can also mention stuff like Crunchyroll reducing stream quality over the years.
Oh, that's another issue.
We had that whole thing. We had that whole thing happen, and it, like, the fact that it's a question whether or not they would have resolved that issue had people not found out about it and called them on it.
Yeah. And then also
it's their web player just straight up not working for some people for a very long time.
Yeah. And then this is kind of a multi-company issue, but like fucking rushed shit translations are somehow still an issue. This season with Kaguya, and then I remember a few years back with like a show called Haruchika, which had like abysmal translation. You know, stuff that drives people to fan subs. You know.
Yep, because the core principle of a lot of these companies is not we want to deliver as close to the Japanese experience as possible.
No,
it's the core principle of zero of these companies.
Yeah.
And realistically, if you track this all the way back down through the history of the Western anime market, it goes all the way back to the beginning. Because here's what happened as far as my research goes. Back in the day, to get anime, back in the days of tape trading, you had to either be close enough to one of these big anime clubs that you could get there, and there were people out there distributing tapes, and you can get it that way, and they do that for free because they just wanted to spread anime. Or you were going to one of these sci-fi conventions where there were people selling these tapes, and the people selling these tapes were looked upon as unscrupulous and rapscallions, and how dare they make money off of this anime that and make no mistake, it's all illegal. So nobody's even supposed to be having these tapes. You're not supposed to record this stuff. But okay, so some people distributed them, and some people sold them, and the people who were distributing them looked down upon the people who sold them, and that was their big mistake. Because what they should have realized was, okay, we want this stuff to become more popular and spread around. And what we need to have enough foresight to realize that as this stuff becomes more popular, someone is eventually going to sell tapes. And that needs to be us, because if it's not us, the person who eventually just starts selling these tapes is going to have profit motive as their only driving factor. As opposed to us who actually genuinely care about anime. So that's really the mistake. If you want to trace this all the way back, blame the tape traders, because they made the mistake of not having a business mind about this stuff.
Well, that's how ADV started. They were tape traders. That's how Animego started.
I mean,
I'm not
seeing a parallel though, because Crunchyroll was a fan subbing group at one point.
Crunchyroll was a fan subbing group at one point. Certainly, they also went out and sought venture capital funding to, while actively engaged in illegal activity as their core business practice.
Yeah.
So I question their scruples for doing that, but I understand. Like, yeah, it's not lost on me that Funimation, that Crunchyroll started out as a fan subbing group.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is the core mentality of the Western anime market in general isn't based in propagating appreciation for anime and building bridges between East and West. It's not based in that, because it wasn't, because the people who started making money off of anime weren't doing that. They weren't making money doing that. They were making money, and realistically, if you look to the first licensing firms in the West, as far as my research goes, what they did was they just licensed anime shows from Japan and basically just did whatever they want with them. Mostly relocalized them as children's cartoons, children's movies.
Yeah.
With no respect for what they were in Japan.
Well, that was the era before. I know what you're talking about. That was the era before, like, stuff like Animego, U.S. renditions.
Well, exactly, and that's what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is,
you're talking about the era of like Voltron and Robotech, and
I'm talking about probably before even that. What I'm saying is, if the people who are if the tape trading dudes, the people who really cared about this stuff, the people who really cared about building bridges between East and West, understanding what's actually going on with this stuff, all that, if those people had started this paradigm of selling tapes, we'd be a lot better off now, because it would have instilled a set of core principles in the market.
Yeah, but the thing is, I know what you're getting at, but that would have it's like they would have had to get the contact of the Japanese companies that own the stuff, and back then it was very hard to do that.
That's what I'm saying, though. I get that it was hard. Yeah, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's necessary. If that's what you like, if that's the core principles you want to instill in your market, that's necessary. Like, I'm not going to take it's hard as an excuse.
Yeah. It was their jobs. You know?
And here's the thing. What they were doing was legally gray anyway. Just distributing these tapes.
Well, also, I think that they figured that they would never get the attention of the Japanese companies.
Yeah.
Well, that was the lack of hindsight on their part. Well, the lack of foresight on their part.
Yeah. I was going to say, that sentence is weird.
Yeah, no, that was the lack of
foresight. You know, it's like, oh, we're distributing tapes. Japan's not going to know what we're doing.
I mean, in a way, though, I understand, though, because at the time, like, could anyone really foresee the level of globalization that exists now?
You're getting a 6th generation tape of, like, Macross You Remember Love, where it's like the colors are all washed out, and, you know, there's so much hiss in the video.
Yeah. But
I don't know, it just bothers me. Like when I read that back when I was doing research for those articles, when I read that back and found out, wow, like you were looked upon as a ne'er-do-well if you were selling tapes. This is trying to run a business. They're doing the same thing these tape traders are doing, except they're just selling it.
Yeah. There's always something like there's a perception of nobility to, you know, not profiting off of something, I suppose.
The business side of me finds that mentality disgusting.
I mean, like, I get why it exists because,
I get why it exists, but like, let's be real, guys. Someone's gonna sell tapes. Why can't it be you?
Yeah, I know. I know.
You're not gonna shame people. You're not gonna shame people out of that because the money is more important. The money's more important to them than shame. Otherwise, they wouldn't be selling tapes in the first place.
Here's another thing. Here's another thing. The Japanese companies didn't even think that there was a market for the stuff here.
Yeah, and part of what the tape traders were trying to do was make anime more popular. So they know so the Japanese will notice that there's a market for this stuff.
Yeah. It led to bad things, but I can see why it happened at the time.
I can totally see why it happened. I just think it's stupid.
There's a certain degree of, you know, integrity, I suppose, to quote unquote not selling out, you know, but probably would have been better off if they did, you know.
And I feel like, and to bring it back to the present, I feel like we'd be a lot better off now if people had decided we're gonna make this market on our terms.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna try it, because what happens when your market starts out where, okay, our only motivation is profit, like our only driving force is, okay, let's make some money off of this anime thing.
I feel like that's inevitable. I feel like that happen. That could happen at any time where management changes hands, or just like circumstances change, and eventually the motive is going to return to profit. I feel like that's kind of inevitable in a way.
I think it's something that can definitely be mitigated. So, for example, I feel like if we had gone back in time and changed that paradigm, so now it's the tape traders are in the people who care about anime are in charge of making money on anime, we'd have more companies out here that are closer to, say, a Discotheque or an Animego than companies like a Funimation or a Crunchyroll. We'd have less companies that are okay with things like doing substantial dub script changes.
Now, maybe I'm misunderstanding the history here, but I feel like those companies came about as a result of a dissatisfaction with the way the other companies were doing business. So I don't know if was that an inherent thing, or is it like a counter movement sort of deal?
There may certainly have been a counter movement.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is we'd have more companies like that care about those things than we would have companies like Funimation, like Crunchyroll, whose motives appear to be profit over creating a product people fundamentally want.
Yeah, but like, one second. Yes, well, but when you, because like when people are dissatisfied with a market like this, you know, these kinds of counter initiatives arise with these sorts of companies, and that's great, and you know, good things happen because of that, you know, and the ideal situation would be that they overtake the other company's share in the market. But is that going to happen when their drive isn't profit? Because I just always, like, no matter how far back you go and say let's redo this with the people with integrity on top, I feel like eventually the people that are just after profit are going to surpass them. and then we just end up in the same situation. Like I don't think it matters whether the chicken or the egg came first, because eventually capitalism wins.
Well, it's difficult to. The thing about it is, it's difficult to. It's difficult to bring that kind of niche market into the mass market when there isn't.
Yeah.
When there's already a thriving niche market in there. What I'm saying is, if we'd gone back in time and changed this paradigm, basically like 90% or something like that of the people into anime now are the would be the people buying things like Aniplex releases. Would be the people who are like people who know enough about anime to know that you don't really need to be buying Blu-rays in 2019. Stuff like that.
Here's another factor
though.
The
The part of the market that Funimation largely caters to wouldn't exist.
Well, here's another factor though, is that not all anime is made equal, and the kinds of stuff that they pilfer, as it were, has an inherent appeal towards a broader demographic, and I feel like that's something you have to consider with the kinds of shows these companies handle. Is that eventually one company is going to start getting the stuff that appeals to a larger demographic, and then their business strategy is going to shift to revolve. Like, I feel like if all anime was created equal and had an equal amount of appeal, I feel like this let's go back in time situation would be a lot more plausible. But because of these factors where some shows are just inherently more marketable and some people are just inherently more driven by profit, you're just going to end up in the same situation again.
I think you're right. Where
Go ahead, VZ.
Well, my thing is that no matter what, you kind of had, in order to get the stuff exposed, you kind of need the person who's driven by profit, but at the same, but I also agree with you, Anubis, that that's kind of like there needs to be the better marriage of profit and doing this for the fans rather than just one excelling over the other.
See, I feel like what you're talking about with there being different kinds of anime for different kinds of people, that's certainly true, but is a lot more of a factor back when we were in the DVD era, back when we were in the mid 2000s, when largely if you wanted to watch a show, you had to get the disc release.
That's correct. But I also feel like that the situation we have now is a result of that happening.
Oh, the situation we have now is well. Here's the thing about the situation we have now. Every show is streaming. Most shows are watched streaming. If you're buying a show, you've probably already seen it. Likely streaming.
Probably.
So what we approach is fewer and fewer people need to own the shows that they're watching, because a lot of people buy a show on. A lot of people in, say, the mid 2000s would have bought a show on DVD, watched it once, and been done with it, because that's what they do with anime generally.
Yeah.
Now those people they will watch the whole thing streaming and be done with it, which is and throughout this entire era, throughout both of these eras, you had people who would buy shows on disc and fill up their shelf and watch a lot of these shows over and over.
Yeah.
And you'll find that those people are still buying these shows on disc and filling up their shelves because that's what they do with anime generally. It's the collecting and anime watching behavior of people that really drives whether or not these, particularly these disc releases, are sustainable.
So you're saying, and if you're saying this, and I already agree with you, but if you're saying that the streaming audience and the disc audience are different audience, well, they're interconnected, but they're different groups of people.
Yeah, they're fundamentally different groups of people here, because here's where you can tell. And I don't know if you guys are different from me in this respect, but I don't see a lot of marketing material for Aniplex releases. At least not nearly as much as I see for things like Funimation's material.
Yeah.
Not necessarily their disc releases, but their
I think it really depends on how into it you are and where you're looking for those ads, because they exist.
I'm sure they exist. I'm positive they exist. I just
but Funimation definitely has a wider reach in that regard.
Yeah.
And so here's the $50,000 question. Why? Because Funimation needs it.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to grow their audience, because they have to.
Yeah.
Because they can't sustain this level of, okay, we gotta acquire all this anime, and we gotta put out all this anime, and we gotta put it out at low prices so people can afford it. It's not sustainable.
I don't know why they thought that it was. That's I said that when they first started doing simuldubbing. I'm just like, this doesn't seem like a good idea. This doesn't seem like a long-term sustainable thing.
Well, that was the paradigm around the mid 2000s when DVDs were big, and like nobody was doing, as far as I know, nobody was doing really big expensive releases around the mid 2000s. Wasn't really a thing that was going on a lot.
Yeah,
very rarely.
For my recollection, it was they were doing the Japanese thing where they were only putting a few episodes on a disc, but
Right.
there
Right,
were
that's what they were doing. Right.
they were pretty normally priced discs though, as far as I
Right,
remember.
so they're continuing on the tail end of that paradigm. Meanwhile, the reason Aniplex doesn't need to do that is because they can, of all their customers, they can trust that their customers have seen the anime that they're putting out on the disc already.
Yeah, especially since they are the most adamant about throwing it up on Netflix or whatever.
Yep, it's already streaming. You already know about it.
Yeah,
Aniplex doesn't need to advertise it.
And that was the thing. That was the thing that really
watching the show, and you're the kind of person who buys a lot of disc releases to put up on your shelf. You know that Aniplex has the disc release, and you know where to get it, and you know. You already know about it. They don't need to waste their money advertising to you.
That was the thing that really turned me around on them, because there was a brief period of time where they were doing these expensive releases, but they weren't throwing stuff online yet. So to me at the time, it felt like they were locking off content under a high price gate. But now that they are almost ubiquitously throwing everything they license up on streaming services in both sub and dub, I don't really feel that way anymore. I feel like it's an appropriate strategy, because you've got the widely accessible streaming option, and then for the collectors, for the people that really care, you have these expensive sets.
Bingo. Yeah. So when your market is everyone, then you have to do a lot of marketing and advertising to make sure everyone knows, hey, if you like this anime cartoon show that we put up on the internet, you can buy it on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Even though most of the people who see that are only going to watch it once and have only watched it once online streaming, and they're never going to touch it again. So why would they want the Blu-ray? Whereas the collector type, if you put out a quality product, they're guaranteed to buy it.
Mm.
I almost feel like what's going to happen is that the physical release market is going to downsize to the point where stuff's almost made to order, or at the very least, like
They've tried that. I forgot the name of the company, but there was that one that was putting out stuff like Orgus and Nobody's Boy Remy before Discotech got that stuff.
Yeah.
Where it was like print on demand.
Yeah. I don't know if that's good for quality or anything, but like.
Well, the thing is, I don't think they're gonna do print on demand for Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Blu-ray discs are much more expensive, so they have to be mass produced.
Yeah. Could always do what the fucking visual novel companies are doing and just crowdfund everything.
Oh, if you want to make me mad, that's the route that we need to go. Is if we want to.
Oh my god, how mad are you gonna be if Funimation starts crowdfunding Blu-rays?
Dude, well, aren't they already like doing that with this latest Dragon Ball release that they've announced?
No,
what's this?
I think that was just doing a fan poll that they didn't listen
to. What's this Dragon Ball thing?
I actually don't know offhand. I just know that they did a fan poll and people said we want 4x3, and Funimation said, "Nah, fam, we know what you really want."
Okay, so Funimation announced this, and this is as far as I know.
Yeah.
Funimation announced this original format DBZ set. This is early this month. And what they're basically saying is, okay, we need 2,500 people to commit to this.
Oh, that part, yeah.
And if 2,500 people don't commit to this, we're not putting it out.
And then they raised it without telling anyone. I remember that.
Really?
Yeah.
They raised it?
Yeah, they raised it to what did you say? 2,500? They raised it to like 3,000.
Wow.
And then someone read the fine print and called them out on that. And they were like, "Nah, fam, we know what you really want."
Yeah.
Oh, I got okay.
If you want to make me really, really angry, every company do that.
Yeah, that's not really crowdfunding. That's just sort of.
Well, that's holding your release hostage until 25.
By the way, yeah, you're saying the thing. No, we know what you want. Reminds me of when Bandai Visual, not to be confused with Bandai Entertainment, was the company, because holy shit, did they like crash and burn when they this was their Oniami's label.
Yeah.
No, because at a con they had a thing that said, "We know what anime fan want or like."
Yep. Also, side note: can we just appreciate that fucking Dragon Ball needs a petition to have a release?
Isn't that hilarious? Here's what's hilarious, and so this is something I had posted on Discord when that whole thing came out. Okay. The Virgin Funimation announces original DBZ format DBZ set, holds it hostage until 2,500 people commit to it, has had this license for decades, has had plenty of chances to do this. The Chad Sentai Filmworks announces Legend of the Galactic Heroes for streaming, announces a box set of the whole series, haggles the rights holders down on the price, and releases the thing normally. Hey, if you're really into Legend of Galactic Heroes and you want to own it, here's your chance to do that. We haggled them down on the price. This is the best we could do for you. It's $800. Go for it. Damn. And really, if you want to know what I think the future of the Western disc release market will be or should be, I think I would like it to focus on high quality releases meant for collectors, because I don't know how many people who just watch streaming are out here buying a whole lot of disc sets.
Is that a will be or should be?
Uh, I I I think it will be. I would. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a pleasant transition, but I think it's a transition that's going to happen.
I don't think everything's going to get that sort of premium set.
I don't think everything's going to get that sort of premium set, but I do think that the market is going to start focusing more on collectors than on trying to get like.
I feel like the physical market. I feel like the streaming market is going to try to reach as wide as it always has.
Well, the streaming market's a different animal.
Yeah.
The streaming market is always going to try and make stuff available, and that's just gonna. And while realistically, I would prefer that it would focus more on the anime fandom as it exists. The streaming market's going to go where the streaming market goes.
Yeah. But what's useful about that is that maybe we'll get to a point where not everything needs a physical release. And like if it doesn't warrant it, we're not just going to do it anyway and try to make up for it with other, profit grubbing schemes.
Well, here's this weird thing that's been going on the past few years. Okay, so we know the number of anime has been increasing in Japan. But the number of new shows that have been coming out has been less here as far as like physical releases.
Is it less or is it just really slow? I feel like it's just really slow.
It's a bit both.
Yeah.
It's less and it's slower. I've been noticing a lot of old stuff has been coming out. Either license rescues or things never even released before.
Right.
Some of these really but I wanted to get back to what I was saying about Bandai Visual, because holy shit, did that company crash and burn. Basically, what Aniplex is doing right with the sort of premium from Japan, they got wrong. Bandai Visual stuff was crazily overpriced. What is it? Like pretty much at the Japanese level pricing, where you're paying like $80 for like Wings Oniyamis. Sometimes they had extras, but not. Then I think they sort of dropped down on the extras. Only had one of their things, which was Gunbuster anyway. But that's what I'm talking about. And they lasted far shorter than Aniplex's. I think they only had 2 or 3 years on the market on the Amis.
Well, yeah, and quite frankly, part of the reason Aniplex survives like it does is because of the times.
Yeah.
Like it's more conducive and it's a better market strategy now than it was back in the day. You're able to put out these higher price releases and not have to do things like spend a whole bunch of money on marketing because spend a whole bunch of money on marketing.
On streaming is the marketing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you know your customers are savvy enough that they already know about the show. You don't need to tell them that the show exists because they know it exists.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's not what
who are doing they're the people who are paying attention to the season chart every 3 months.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about with the Bandai Visual thing. Bandai Visual just was sort of doing stuff that people were telling them, no, this is not how you do it, and they just did not listen.
Yeah.
Aniplex stuff at least seems.
Well, I mean, to be fair, a lot of people told Aniplex, no, this isn't how you do it when they started out.
True, but the difference is also that I think Bandai Visuals tried to have their stuff in stores like Best Buy. Aniplex just is like in like right stuff, and it's been working out for them.
Yeah, even I told them that to a beat. Even
they're niche, and they know that they're niche.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, is that the show? Because I think that's the show.
Yeah, I think I said everything.
that might be the show.
That is indeed the show. The email address is ntrradio@gmail.com. The website is ntrradio.net. You've got the Big Book of Idols at thebigbookofidolscom. You've got the shirts at iashike.moe/store.
Yeah, spring's coming. Buy the short sleeve shirts.
Yes, indeed. Hit up Iyashike. You can read my stuff there. VZ stuff is at VZMK2 moemekagatai.wordpress.com. Zeke, you got anything?
Yeah, you can go check out my YouTube channel. The Baka Gaiden Show podcast is kind of on hiatus right now because Kevin's living situation doesn't really allow him to record freely. So that's on break right now. But I still put out editorial videos of my own every now and again. So there's still some stuff happening over there. Otherwise, just follow me on Twitter, I guess, at ZekeFreak.
Speaking of Twitter, I'm at Time Enforcer Nubis. VZ is at VZMK2. The show is at NTR_radio. Did I say I'm at Time Enforcer Anubis? Because I'm at TE.
Yeah, it's TE Anubis.
My excuse is that I'm sick, so that I'm kind of out of it.
Yeah.
I'm Time Enforcer Anubis.
I'm VZ Mark II.
I am ZekeFreak.
And even though we're unsustainable every time we say it, this is NTR Radio.